All right, the breaking news you're seeing on your screen right now. This is live out of Birmingham, Alabama. GOP nominee for the open Senate seat there in Alabama, Roy Moore, is speaking at a Veterans Day program. First public appearance after allegations that he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl. He has denied those allegations, but Moore was greeted by protesters shouting, "No more." We'll continue to monitor that, though so far he has not mentioned the allegations. Let's bring in our panel. A. Scott Bolden, he is the National Bar Association's chair of the Political Action Committee, and Jack Kingston, CNN political commentator, former congressman from Georgia, and former senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
Hey, Jack, let me start with you, and I want you to listen to Adam Kinzinger, a Republican member of Congress from Illinois, on what should happen next regarding Roy Moore.
I think Roy Moore needs to step aside now. These allegations are disgusting, and I believe them against him, and there's no way to defend this. And secondly, I think the Senate should say that they will refuse to seat him, or in fact expel him if he is if he's the senator from Alabama.
Two-part question here. The likelihood of one of those happening, I know you don't believe that he's going to step aside, but also, would that not be politically advantageous for the president and for the party?
Well, I think if the party wants to split the baby in half, what they may say is vote for Moore, and then you could have him not seated and have the Republican governor of Alabama replace him, and that would be a way to get there, but I think it would be very awkward and hard to follow. But I think that the better route would be for Moore to answer the allegations and explain why they're not true, and do this in the presence of his wife and family, and do this drawing on the 40 years of goodwill he has created as a public servant in Alabama. And I think if he's unable to do that, then the Democrats are going to have a good victory down in Alabama. But I want to point out, at this point, there are more Republicans who have denounced Roy Moore, like Adam Kinzinger, than we have heard from Democrats denouncing Robert Menendez. It's funny that the Democrats are saying, well, Menendez has to go through a trial period,
all right,
and let's find out if he's guilty.
I got to keep you on task, Jack. Let me get this guy here.
I just wanted my friend A. Scott Bolden to think about that.
He loves to pivot.
He does better pivots than figure skaters. Scott, let me get back on focus here, because he mentioned that potentially Democrats could have a big win there, but Democrats have to be careful here, because if they start flooding in money and start flooding in, the big names from the party, that's going to damage any chance that Doug Jones has of winning this race.
Well, maybe not. When the other side is sliding through the hole, don't get in their way and don't try to save them. That's one theory. The other theory is, if he starts polling really well in the next week, then you may have to dump some money in that race. It's all about who's winning, what's winnable and what isn't winnable. They don't want to do anything to hurt Doug Jones. But we got to see what happens in the next week or two. If other women come out as detailed as the Washington Post report was, who have just as many details over the course of time, then I think Jack is right. Oh, God, did I just agree with him?
Yes.
In any event, I think he's right.
I
think he's right that Moore is going to have to do more, forgive the pun, than just come out and deny it. Because what makes this a legitimate story and gives pause and concern to the Republicans is that lies have no details. And this woman and these women have a lot of details that corroborate what her allegations are. And so he's going to have to do something more than that.
The Washington Post actually spoke with dozens of people, in addition to the four women who say that he made advances toward them when they were teenagers. Jack, let me come back to you and the question of, there have been these members of Congress, there have been people in the state who say, if this is true, then he should step aside. What fulfills what confirms this? There are not going to be any cell phone recordings, because it was 1979. There's no trial, there's no testimony. What gets people to believe it, if not the reporting thus far from the Washington Post?
Victor, I can't answer that question, but I do think that the voters are going to have to decide for themselves who's more credible. And I think that if Judge Moore can kind of hold his own in the moral debate of it, and then shift it to politics and say, well, this is the Washington establishment. These are the people who are against me in the primary. These are the people that you and I have been fighting against for my 40 years in public office, and I'm out there to take on these people, but they don't want me because they know I'm going to vote to repeal and replace. I'm going to vote for a middle-class tax cut, and I'm not going to impeach President Trump the way Senator Jones would. He's not going to stop that, and that's a big agenda right now.
Here's the problem.
Hold on. Let me play. I want to play a segment from a radio show, and this is an exchange between the host and Judge Moore.
At that time in your life, let me ask you this. You do remember these girls. Would it be unusual for you as a 32-year-old guy to have dated a woman as young as 17? That would be a, 15-year difference, or a girl 18. Do you remember dating girls that young at that time?
Not generally, no. If I did, I'm not going to dispute anything, but I don't remember anything like that.
But you don't specifically remember having any girlfriend that was in her late teens even at that time?
No, I don't remember that, and I don't remember ever dating any girl without the permission of her mother. And I think in her statement, she said that her mother actually encouraged her to go out with me.
Scott, when asked if he dated teenagers in his 30s, he said, not generally, no. I mean, I'm not going to dispute it.
Yeah, Victor, as a former sex crimes prosecutor, let me say this. This is about moral character, and he doesn't deny dating them. He admits what he cannot deny and denies what he cannot admit. He denies the sexual touching of the 14-year-old, but he admits, or at least does not deny, that he may have dated young women. And this concept that their mothers or fathers gave him permission borders on the nonsensical. We know the statistics show us that those who are molested are often molested by friends of the family or relatives or even family members, if you will. So that simply makes no sense.
All right.
So
but Scott, one of the women actually said that her own mother told her she was lucky to date him.
I got to wrap it here. I got to wrap it here. I know you got to have the conversation.
There's a moral issue
what's
here.
the gray area there, Jack? He simply can't just answer that with one word?
No, he has got to deny it, and he has to show something like, this happened on a Monday.
Even if it's true? Even if it's true.
All right.
No, if it's true, he should do the honorable thing and back out. But what I'm saying, he's got to say no.
Jack Kingston,
say no
Scott
very
Bolden.
firmly.
All right. Thank you very much. We got to wrap it there.
Victor.
Thanks, Victor.